Welcome to For the Love of Licking County, a podcast where we bring you everything on leadership, entrepreneurship, and community impact. Presented by the Licking County Chamber of Commerce. I am your host, Jamie Wright of Wright Dauble Insurance, and we are coming to you from right here in Newark, Ohio.
Whether you're a job seeker or a business with staffing needs, Ohio Means Jobs Licking County is here for you. Our center is fully equipped and expertly staffed to help you with your employment and workforce needs. Stop in and see us at 998 East Main Street in Newark or call us at 740-670-8700.
Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us for this very first recording of For the Love of Licking County. Yay! I'm so excited. I'm so excited to bring this to you guys. I'm so excited to be sitting here next to you. This is a very humbling moment for me, quite honestly, to be sitting here next to some amazing leaders in Licking County. And so I want to obviously introduce you guys, and then I want to circle back around to what the Chamber does specifically in some of the events. But first, I kind of want to get started on how this whole thing launched. But first, I do need to introduce you guys. Welcome to Jennifer Mcdonald, the president of the Licking County Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you.
And the one and only Brittany Meisner, the vice president of the Licking County Chamber of Commerce. Thank you guys so much for being here with me today.
Thank you.
So this is our first recording, and we kind of just wanted to introduce the show, kind of give you guys some info about what's to come, and just kind of what our goal was with this. So let's just dive in, shall we?
Yes.
Yay.
Let's do it, please.
So the first thought that I had in mind was this kind of all started when the Small Business Council was kind of put together. So let's talk about that and how that got started, because that's relatively new to the Licking County Chamber. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It is. So we have several affiliates that are industry-based, and one that really was missing, and it was missing a big segment of our membership, was small business focused. So that's something that we decided we were going to start regardless in 2020, but when the pandemic hit, Brittany and I said, let's start it now.
We had to change gears a little bit about how it was going to look. We had the intention we were going to meet in person and have roundtable events and programming, but of course that had to change a little bit. But we still,
a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. But we still decided that regardless of the pandemic, it was something that our members needed. Especially majority of our members are small business. And so we wanted to make sure that we had the opportunity to provide them with some extra benefit in being a member of the chamber. And so we moved forward with the Small Business Council, and we've received great response and really great interaction and involvement since the very beginning.
We absolutely have. And
Yeah.
then we know you, and you're colorful, and you're fun. And
Woohoo!
Yep. Something that we miss a little bit in our lives. We love to be colorful and fun, but we try to be, a little more subdued in some of our events. So we're like, somebody else needs to do this podcast.
Well, and it brings up a really good point. When we first started the Small Business Council, we started with you, Jamie, and Justin Fickus in a conversation about, hey, we're not small business owners. We definitely feel like we have a good gauge on what small business needs because we try to be a voice for business, but we wanted to hear directly from small business owners about what are we missing in the community, what things should the chamber be offering small business specifically, and we heard from you and Justin, and that's how some of the programming for small business started. We've done a state of the state. We've had the human resource best practices. We'll have a marketing small business program coming up in May, and then that's how the podcast and some other ideas were created is through those conversations.
Well, yeah, I mean, I remember the Zoom.
Yeah.
So it was me and Justin, and it was kind of like that first steering committee, if you will. And so you guys were like, hey, what do you want? What do you want out of this? And for me, I said, I think it would be, we need to come up with something that was created some sustainability around small business, and especially in the time, the environment that what we were going through was important to me to try to find a piece to offer. So I said, hey, what about a podcast?
Yeah.
And here we are. So that was really, that was fun. I thought that was fun. And planning this, what did we start this, months ago? And then, I don't know, we had this idea and we were like, okay, let's do it.
we knew we needed someone that had just great energy and excitement, and so it wasn't even a question. Jamie Wright, we need Jamie.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because every time that I get started with something or like interject a team, I'm like, all right, listen, as long as this is fun, we'll continue to do this, but it has to be fun.
You've said that to me several times in the planning process, actually.
Yeah, right.
And I love it every time you say it. I'm like, you're right.
Well, and I don't think you ever get nervous. So.
Oh, that's not true.
Oh, you don't act like
it.
Okay.
So natural.
Man, you guys need to come on the show. Oh, goodness gracious. I'm all blushing. But to circle back around, the idea behind the podcast was to create some space for leadership, entrepreneurship, and kind of community impact and involvement, because I think that that's especially important here in Licking County. We wanted to throw around some small business ideas to relevance to Licking County, opportunity to learn, making an impact. I talk with my hands so much, and if you don't know me yet, you will. And then, too, when we talked, I said, I don't necessarily expect this to be geared specifically to small business owners, because we really wanted to give everybody a little something.
Yeah.
And bring some personal growth and development stuff. Everybody can learn about leadership, about entrepreneurship, but we really wanted to give people an opportunity to learn from really cool, smart people. And I've said this for years now, like, never miss an opportunity to learn from somebody that's smart. Smart people, always kind of put yourself out there. And that's kind of where we're at with this. And so, with that, so tell us a little bit, let's circle back around to telling us about the Licking County Chamber of Commerce, who you guys are specifically, what you do, what kind of events. I mean, I know things have had to change this past year, so talk to me about that a little bit.
Who goes first?
Yeah. You just look at each other.
First.
Me go, okay, all right. So, I'm Jennifer Mcdonald, and I'm the president of the Licking County Chamber of Commerce. Have been since the fall of 2016, and I have an amazing team. Everybody kind of knows this is Team Chamber.
Agreed.
And so there's 4 of us. Just Brittany and I are here today, but there are 4 amazing ladies that I get to work with, and I think we do amazing things together.
I do too.
Personally, I just recently become an empty nester, so I have lots and lots of time on my hands.
You have your cats.
I do have the cats,
Yeah.
and they drive me insane now. During pandemic, I didn't know how much they could drive me insane. So that's kind of what's new with me. But on the chamber world, it's just, we have kind of 3 areas of focus: economic development, advocacy. We're always advocating on behalf of our members, and our events. So and chamber benefits. Mm-hmm. So, this year we had to do a lot of advocating. With the pandemic, it changed a little bit how we do things.
Yeah.
And so we've had a lot of legislative updates, which we've always had, mm-hmm. but it became so much more important this year. And same with the Small Business Council. It just became more important to connect and learn from each other and hear from each other and see what's going on, because we couldn't meet in person. So I feel like we changed some things this year of what we do, but kind of only just really in the way we do it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that wholeheartedly too, because as just not even just our community, but I think everybody was feeling this extreme pressure in this moment, especially in small business. When you own a business, mm-hmm. It was really difficult to navigate, and some obviously had it way more difficult than others too. So It was really important to be able to lean on you guys.
Yeah. And we wanted to get the message out right away, and I think, we learned Zoom within a couple days.
Right.
And talked to all of our legislators. I'll give a shout out to Congressman Balderson. He was incredible. I mean, I called him constantly saying, give us updates, what's going on, what's the relief going to be. I mean, our businesses need help. They need some funding, and, got the Paycheck Protection Program information, the EIDL loans and everything like that. And then luckily we were able to help facilitate some of the CARES Act grants mm-hmm. this year. And would we give 115 grants out, $1.1 million to those who needed it most.
Wow. $1.1 million. I didn't know that.
Yes.
Yeah. So we felt really humbled, honestly, to be able to help those in need. I mean, the money came from the county, trickled down from the CARES Act federally, and we oversaw the grant application and awarding those.
And being able to facilitate that, even though it wasn't our funds, but knowing that the county trusted in the chamber enough to take on that work, because there was a lot of work. All four of us worked really hard to make sure that the program and the facilitation of those grants went smoothly, because our businesses were already dealing with so much. The last thing they needed was anything to be overcomplicated or any more challenging than what they were already facing. And back to what Jennifer was saying about who we are as a chamber, we serve our members, we serve the business community, and it would have been really easy for us to stay home and be quiet and take this time to chill out with no events, but we know we have a bigger obligation and responsibility to our community than to do that. And so we kicked it into high gear and made sure that we were there for our businesses, communicating information about what was happening, advocating on their behalf, helping with those grants, but also it was really important that we didn't stay quiet and we didn't shut down all programming. We knew the programming had to change, and we had to adjust and pivot. Isn't pivot like a big 2021 word?
That and the new normal.
Yeah, the new normal.
Please. I don't want any more new normal.
But we knew we had to do that. So we have been very deliberate about what programming we have continued to offer during the pandemic, because we also know Zoom fatigue is a thing.
Yeah.
We feel it. We know it.
Right.
So what we've been delivering to our members has been very deliberate. It has been with feedback from our business community, and it has been all things to make sure that we're helping through the recovery process, because we've said this since the very beginning that it was one thing during shutdown, but the most challenging thing for our community is going to be that recovery piece. And we wanted to make sure we were there and we were helpful and we were present, and people knew that we were a resource for them.
Well, and exactly, because there was so much information available,
Yes.
and you guys were able to kind of compact it and
Consolidate it, yeah.
And some of it was very confusing.
Very
do I
confusing.
qualify? And if so, what do I need? And how do I get this information? And, if they've laid off employees, when do they have to bring them back? So there was just so much information. And we kind of, if not us, who?
Right.
And so we
Right.
really felt like we needed to be that central point of communication and help and distribution. And, I feel like we've been, I don't want to say insulated, because they're definitely, if you're talking about the hospitality industry, was hit very hard. Childcare facilities, some of them early on, definitely restaurants. Anybody that was affected by the mandates, the gathering mandates, really were hit hard. But I feel like we are well ahead of some other communities as far as the recovery stage, and being insulated from some of the businesses. I only know really of maybe one that has closed their doors. So we're really lucky. If you look at some of the other bigger cities that have been hit so hard, I feel like we're really fortunate. And I feel like, that goes back to how we collaborate. Not only as a chamber, I mean, we do collaborate with a lot of other organizations within the community, but I feel like all of our leaders in Licking County are much more open to how are we going to figure this out? Let's collaborate. For example, this past year we couldn't do some of our events, so we had a restaurant week and really tried to promote restaurants in the area. Get out, even if you're not comfortable. You can do curbside pickup, you can do takeout. We did a small business Saturday and a shop local campaign. We're looking to do another restaurant week, and hopefully it'll look a little different. Hopefully people will feel more comfortable this summer and want to go in and sit down and enjoy the patios. And so I think just being nimble and being creative in the ways that we tried to help our businesses, we feel we've been successful with that.
Yeah, and didn't the restaurant week posts reach like tens of thousands of people?
Yeah.
Received great reach.
Yeah.
And
It
was
Natasha
incredible.
worked really, really hard on that.
Every day she was posting a new
Yes.
post.
That
Yes.
was something. And we had to be creative about sharing ways to help that everyone felt comfortable, right? Because we know that, consumer confidence was down. That's something we talked about a lot.
Absolutely. Big one.
Actually, I'm pretty sure Restaurant Week we launched that the exact week that another mandate came out
I think
that we
so.
were like, oh, I don't know if this is the right time. But then
It might have been the mask mandate. It was something.
Yes, it was the mask mandate. And we're like, maybe this isn't the right time. But then we, as a team looked at each other and said, actually, this is the exact right time because our restaurants, our businesses need this. They need this extra promotion. And, back to something Jennifer said, of course the chamber is known as being the community cheerleaders, and we know Licking County is great, and we always talk about how Licking County is great and how we're great at collaborating, and I wholeheartedly believe those things, and I know Jennifer does too. But I will say, I know we're still in the pandemic, but getting past the shutdowns and things, it really showed me that, oh my goodness, we are something special here because people were able to pull together that, even, we talked about this, that they might even have been in competition with one another, but that didn't matter. It was about making sure as a community we were getting past this, that we were going to be able to recover. Now, do I believe a second shutdown, if that would have happened, things would look a lot different? Yes, I really do believe that, but we got through the first one, our businesses got through the first one, and we were able to pull together and make sure that there was resources and programs and things out there to get them where they needed to go.
Well, and I want to circle back to in a minute about that kind of theory, but I want to offer my personal experience with the chamber. I'm going to toot your horn here. Because I didn't grow up in Licking County. I'm not from here. So when I decided, and I had a lot of research into where I wanted to open my agency, and I landed in Newark, and in part because I went to the chamber page. I looked at every nonprofit, right? And I thought, okay, where can I see myself getting involved? And so looking at the community aspect of things was, it was almost like an enlightened moment. Like, wow, this is really where I want to be because of this community. So when I opened the agency, I knew, not knowing anybody, I had to dive in head first. And did I ever?
Yes, you did.
And I think a lot of it too is kind of, and this is life and business in general, but kind of putting your money where your mouth is, and you kind of try new things, and then you realize, like, maybe this isn't necessarily where my niche is, and you learn. And I think that there was so much opportunity, and I've said even in leadership class, the one thing that this gave me was an opportunity, right? And an opportunity to learn and to meet new people. And I think it's important to always be able to put a face with a name. And in Licking County, in this community, it's easy to do because I could be in the same room as the mayor. I have a voice. I can share my experiences. And so I obviously sent in my application for my chamber membership. I went to a Chamber 101, and that's when I first heard you speak. And there was so much information about what we could get involved with, so it made it a lot easier for me to kind of pick and choose what I thought would benefit the agency. And that was my first networking opportunity. So I connected with people. We had coffee like the next week, and then it just started to grow. The one thing that I didn't necessarily expect to happen, but just did naturally, was the friendships that I made out of that. Which, coming from a different city, a bigger city, that's not the easiest thing to do. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again, but it's really cool that everybody here seems to want everybody to succeed. So we are always helping each other, or there's always an idea that you can share with somebody, right? And for me, that was really neat. I'd never seen that before. So what you were kind of touching on was the philosophy of, and this is why I think that I felt so comfortable here, was the philosophy of community over competition. And I think that's kind of what you were touching on a little bit too. And I want to unpack that because sometimes that's hard to understand or achieve. My agency is on 21st Street, which I said earlier is Insurance Row. But when I came here, I now know that I can go to any one of these other agencies and say, I need help, my client needs help, and I'm here to help your clients and you, so what can we do together to make that happen? And for me, that was really important. we're all really kind of pushing for each other to be successful. So how can we help you do that? So let's unpack that philosophy here and what you guys learned, because you guys know it from a different perspective than I do, because you see a lot of different industries. So what does that philosophy of community over competition mean to you guys?
First, I'll just touch on the fact that as a chamber, we have over 900 chamber members. We're the third largest chamber in Central Ohio. We're very proud of that. But with 900 members, you're going to have members that cross into the same industry, same category, same service that they offer. And honestly, I can say all of the events, all of the extra promotion and things that we do from the chamber perspective, we've never run into an issue where competitors are not willing to work with each other, and that makes our jobs a lot easier and what we're trying to do for the community and for business in general. So that's been great, and it's that collaborative spirit. There's enough business, especially we're growing here in Licking County. We continue to grow. There's enough business for everybody, and everybody realizes that at some point in their journey of owning a business, they are going to have to lean on one another. They're going to have these partnerships. And networking and partnerships are one of the best things you could do for your business. And I think you kind of mentioned that. And so people realize that. And one thing I always tell businesses too, and this is a little bit off topic, but you highlighted it, is here in Licking County, people do want to do business with people that they know. So when I have a new business come in and talk to us, or come to Chamber 101, or maybe even they're expanding from another community, I always preface that, because if you don't plan on being present and seen and here, unfortunately, I don't think your business is going to do as well, because we are about relationships here in Licking County. You saw that firsthand with the connections you were able to make just by coming to your first Chamber 101 and how that blossomed. And so it's a positive, but people have to be prepared and be invested.
You got to keep showing up. And even and that's a whole other show, but you just keep showing up and you make yourself uncomfortable, and then you get comfortable with that. You just keep going to things and you meet new people, and then it just kind of opens up from there. But
pays off.
And I think in economic development, there's a saying like rising tides lifts all ships. And so you support one another. If a business lands somewhere in Licking County, it's a win for Licking County.
Yep.
So, and I think we are much more positive. I think because we're a little smaller community, we know each other better, and so we're able to give those referrals. And we have 3 other great chambers in Licking County, and we tell businesses, you need to pick and choose what they all offer, and the same with service organizations. You may want to spend your time and your money being involved in Kiwanis, or so you just kind of know, like at the chamber, we think we provide a lot of value and benefits, but if you don't find value in that, we don't want you to spend your money being a member. And same with, if you can't serve what your client needs, then you will give them referrals to other places. And I think that's unique a little bit in our community. And I do think it's because we are tight-knit.
Look after each other.
We have a lot of collaboration and events where people get to meet each other. I think community leadership helps. You get to learn the different industries and get to meet the people. And so many people have gone through that, that I think that's a really good thing. I also think Young Leaders of Licking County has really helped that, as far as those friendships and people connecting. And because honestly, when I was in my 20s and starting in my career, there wasn't something like Young Leaders of Licking County. And it was a little more difficult for me to make those friendships and connections as easily. And I felt a little less connected to people in a different generation than me. And I feel like we've done a much better job of kind of bringing everybody together to get to know each other.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And I think that the events are a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
I have kids, so sometimes, but the after hours were a lot of fun. That's where I met a lot of people informally. And that's kind of my thing, is fun and informal, and I just kind of wanted that environment, and those were a lot of fun for me. Young Leaders is obviously a huge opportunity out here too. There's just so many different things that you can put yourself into, and And if you don't feel comfortable in that, then you can find something else that you feel comfortable.
Well, and you mentioned the business after hours and having a family. And so sometimes it's really hard when you're raising a family to also make sure you're taking advantage of the networking opportunities that are available. But that's why we changed our business after hours from 4 to 6 p.m. when we can host them again, post-pandemic.
Right.
Because we know that, networking is important. It's vital to the success of your business. But you also have a family and you have other things that are priority, and we want you to volunteer and do all those other things. So, come network up with us from 4 to 5 and then head off to your family, or maybe you're in a situation where you actually can't get out of the office until 5 o'clock. You still have that 5 to 6 hour to come and meet new people.
Yeah, and that's cool because y'all get it. Right. You get that family.
Constant balance.
Family first.
Yeah. And we try to make our programming at different times. We have breakfast. Our local leaders is typically at breakfast time. We have some luncheons. And this podcast is a great example. I mean, you can listen to this and learn from that in our future podcasts when it works best. And that's one thing we did kind of when we surveyed our small businesses, what time works for them, and it was all over the place.
Oh, it really was. It wasn't very helpful.
So this actually kind of served a big purpose as far as being able to reach people that you can learn at any time when you want to just turn it on.
And Young Leaders is specifically built that way. And we have certain programs in the morning, certain programs at lunch, and certain programs after 5 o'clock. And we don't expect to see the same people at all of those programs. We know that everyone, especially between the ages of 21 and 40, are in different parts of their life. Different, things are important at those different times of their lives. And so that's exactly why the programming is structured that way, so that there is a time to engage, and then there's times that might not work for you, and that's okay, but you can gain something.
So what you're saying is that you appreciate the season of life.
I do, yes. We do. We all do, yes. There's a season of life for each program we have, I guess.
I want to go to the bathroom by myself.
I just want my kids to tie their shoes. That's what I used to always say. Can they just tie their shoes and get the
I give
coat
up.
on?
I'm getting the pull-ons.
I did too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so before we kind of conclude things, I want to know, because I've never asked you guys this, and I'm sure that there's people out there that want to know too, but what is the most favorite part of your job?
I would just say the people I get to meet and work with, and the relationships you build through that. Seeing businesses be successful and providing them information that they find informative. And I love community leadership. I love seeing those relationships build and people that have formed friendships from that, because I do facilitate that program. I don't know. It's hard to just say one thing.
Yeah.
I really do love my job. And this year was different. I mean, at first, I think we all struggled a little bit with grieving because our job changed.
Oh, yeah.
So, but it ended up being very fulfilling. Very fulfilling.
Isn't that funny how
And
it
it's
works?
not always the same thing every day. We have a lot of different challenges. We have a lot of different programming we work with, a lot of different people we meet. So that makes it nice, having a variety.
Well, I'll give a shout out to the leadership class. That was the coolest thing I've ever done. To date, one of my career highlights was the leadership class. So if you're thinking about it, it's a really solid investment. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
And we got to do things that nobody will ever get to do.
Some fun places.
Yeah,
now, I really a shout out to my current class. I feel a little sorry for them because we are in person, but we're very separated. We've only toured one place. We do a lot of Zoom calls, and so I did tell them next year they all get to choose a month to go back and do some extra tours.
Oh, that'll be fun.
I think we are going to do Tourism Day in April, so that'll be good.
Yeah.
But we will be accepting applications for next year's in June, and hopefully we'll be totally in person and be able to be back into touring all the different industries and spots and things like that.
That'll be fun. I mean, I remember we toured the arcade right when it got purchased.
Yeah, it was a little creepy, wasn't it?
Oh my gosh. And then me as the insurance agent, I'm like, there's so many liability issues.
But it's going to be great now. I mean, it's on their way.
I can't wait to see it. I hope somebody lets me up. Hi. I was up here last year.
Yeah, no, they've got
I'll
great things in mind, so it'll be great.
Good. So
this
do
is
tell.
hard to pick one thing. I will say, highlight what Jennifer said about the fact that every day is different.
Yeah.
That's what keeps me motivated and keeps me enjoying my job every day, because I'm someone, I cannot do the same thing every day. That would be torture. But I would definitely say building relationships with the businesses in the community. All of them do something different, have different philosophies and different reasons why they're doing what they're doing, and they're so passionate about what they do. And so, especially being responsible for membership, I get kind of a bird's eye view or a first-hand experience and listening to them and understanding why they're doing what they're doing, and cultivating connections. Being able to connect people and seeing how those relationships have blossomed. You mentioned friendships. Young leaders, I get the privilege of facilitating young leaders from a chamber standpoint, and the friendships that I have seen evolve from our first launch party to 4 years later has been a true privilege. So, it's just really amazing job to be able to connect with so many brilliant people and be able to support and advocate for business. But also from a personal standpoint, Jennifer has been amazing from the very beginning to know that it's very important to me personally to have a job that fulfills me, but my main and top priority is my family. And so that's never been something, and I've been in careers where I have definitely had to pick and choose, and this is one I don't. I get to be out in the community and volunteer for things I'm passionate for. I get to connect with business people and help and support them, but I also get to be a mom and a wife when I need to be. So
I love that.
It's a blessing.
Yeah. And too, you guys get to be a part of history. Right? I say that all the time.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, there's been some exciting things that have happened.
Yeah.
So what's your biggest life hack?
So can I give you one personally and then professionally?
Yeah,
okay.
I love that.
So professionally,
I'm gonna write it down.
And I've kind of found this trial and error because of the Sunday blues that you get or the nervous anxiety, getting ready for Monday. So I try to spend some time on Friday looking through my schedule the next week and making a to-do list for all the different meetings I have or events or projects going on so that I don't feel overwhelmed because Sunday night, I don't know why, it's just always a little depressing because I like to be adventurous and do fun stuff on the weekend, and then it's back to work, even though I love my job. Everybody feels that way. Okay, it's Monday. So I like to either try to do that on Friday afternoon or worst case scenario on Sunday, as I'm getting ready, just kind of go through. And then I just feel better about my week, that I'm a little bit more planned. Because I forget things. I don't know if it's getting older or what it is, but I walk in the copier room and I'm like, why am I here? And then I go back into my office and I'm like, I remember. I know where I was in there. I got to go back.
I do not know what I would do without Siri and her reminders.
Yes.
Every 5 minutes. Yeah. Good.
So, and then my personal one, I have music playlists because I absolutely love music. And so I kind of have them in categories of exercise and relaxing and party music. And so I have different ones based on what I'm doing that really helps elevate my mood and kind of get me excited. And I don't know, music just really motivates me. I love it. So
I love music too.
So I have, I guess, those little playlists that I don't know if that's a life hack.
Well, I mean, it's a coping mechanism, right?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I just want concerts to come back.
Oh, I do too.
So
I have tickets to both the Midland and 31 West that I'm waiting for my next postponement date.
We'll have a big party.
Yeah.
We'll do a show before the show. So, tell.
I really struggled with this one because it's hard when you just do things the way that you do them to figure out if it's a hack or not. I
had to look it up. I'm life hacks. Is this really a life hack? I don't know.
Jennifer mentions the calendar. I'm that person that I have everything on my electronic, Gmail calendar, but I also have, I see your calendar in front of you, Jamie. That's the exact calendar that I have, and I have to write everything in it, or my agenda, or whatever you want to use, and I have to look at it daily or I'm lost. But, when it comes to life, I'm typically running in 50 million directions, from work to dropping off my kids to gymnastics with them to Girl Scouts to soccer. You know how it goes, Jamie. But
yes,
I know Jennifer has been in that season of life for sure. So a lot of times I either forget to lay something out for dinner, and we can't eat takeout every single night.
Wow.
I love supporting my small business, but I don't think that that's ideal.
Or chicken nuggets every night.
Yeah, right? So
I'm on night 3.
I love my air fryer because
Yes.
Even when I forget to lay out chicken or whatever it might be, you can still cook that in an air fryer, frozen as can be.
I love that.
But also ClickList. I couldn't live without ClickList. And that's actually, even if I wasn't busy, I would still ClickList. We were talking about this because I actually detest grocery store shopping. It's just, it stresses me out.
So much time.
It takes so much time. I'm always, as much as I think I'm organized, I have my list in the list of the aisles that I'm going down. I always have to backtrack it. And when you ClickList, you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
It's great.
Well, and it keeps the items that you typically purchase.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
You go in there and it's like, oh yeah,
It's
yeah,
right there. Yep,
absolutely,
I need that.
absolutely.
And it helps you budget.
I was going to say that.
Yes, because I try to spend a
can't
certain
throw
amount
in
every
extras.
week, right? And so I'm over this certain amount. Let's I really don't need
Reese cup.
Reese cups or that extra bottle of wine.
Yeah.
Or some
I
weeks
don't
I
know.
do. Some
I
weeks I
don't
do.
know.
I'm not.
I disagree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't throw out the wine. No.
Yeah. No, I always have at least one in there. Let me clarify, but no.
Oh, goodness. Well, that's fun. That's fun. So I digress then from wine. Let's do a show on wine.
I'm game.
Okay. So thank you guys so much for being here. This was a lot of fun.
It was fun.
I'm super excited to bring you guys new and fun, relevant shows. And next week, we have Mark Hawk from Rev Local, and we're going to talk about what it takes to be a great leader. And I'm super excited. I'm actually very nervous about that show too. And I'm going to have to tell him because I think that he is a very dynamic leader, and I'm excited to learn a lot from him.
But don't be nervous. He's like super
I know,
funny.
yeah.
Does
He's so great.
skits for all the people that work there.
I
Yeah,
know. Every time I listen to him speak, I'm like,
Honestly, I don't think you should be nervous about any of our lineup because they're just
No.
so awesome and they're
I
so
know.
built into our community and they do such good work.
I know.
You guys
I
are going to
love
do great
it.
together.
I love
I'm
it.
excited for the lineup.
well, and then we have James Golden coming in to talk about Imposter Syndrome, and that's super relevant. I think that's a good one for anybody to join in on, just in this day and age and what we're all going through. So that'll be really fun to dive into that personal stuff with him. So the last thing that I'll leave you guys with is be sure to like and share this podcast. We want it to reach a lot of people. We want it to be fun and relevant to everybody. And leave us a comment. Let us know if you have any questions, any ideas. We are open to hearing them. And again, thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate sitting next to you.
Thank you for hosting the podcast.
Thank you so much for
Jamie.
hosting. We are so excited about this.
This room looks amazing. We know there's been
I
so
know.
much
Shout out to
work.
your
that-
husband.
yes.
This is
Thank you,
incredible.
Eddie.
Yeah, shout out to Eddie. You did a
Can
fantastic
he
job.
make us a desk
I know.
like this?
So you're already adding work to him. Stop it. Let him recover from this.
Fifth person that said that. And then to our good friend Kayla, who's made this awesome on-air sign for us. So I was excited about that too. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us on our very first recording of For the Love of Licking County. And until next time, you guys, stay safe,